Hey everyone, I'm Danny Parra with the American Red Cross. I'm part of the communications team here, which means I am not a medical expert, but I still get a lot of questions about blood donation. And luckily, we have some of our great medical experts here today to talk about some of the answers to those questions that we usually get. And joining me today is Dr. Stephen Baker, Division Chief Medical Officer here at the American Red Cross. So, Dr. Baker, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, Danny, it's good to be here. Thank you for having us on. We're happy to answer the questions that you have about blood donation. Excited to be here.
So pretty much everybody knows the term blood types, but there's probably not so many people who know why blood types are important. So can you tell us a little bit about what blood types are and where do they come from?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great question, Danny. And so really there are four main blood groups. So there's A, B, AB, and O. And those really determine what is on the surface of the cells of your blood. And so the major cells inside of your blood are the red blood cells, the white blood cells, and the platelets. And so when we're talking about somebody's blood type, we're really talking about the antigens that are on the red blood cells, but also the other cells have some expression of those antigens as well. And so those four main blood groups, the A, B, AB, and O, also have another modifier called the RH factor, or sometimes called RHD. And if you have that RH, we call the blood type RH positive. And if you don't have RH, we call it RH negative. And so you take those original four blood groups, so A, B, AB, and O, and you can either add RH positive or RH negative to that to give you the 8 main blood types. And what we try to do in transfusion is we try to collect blood from donors that matches the type of the recipient, if at all possible. And so knowing your blood type allows us to perform that transfusion safely and to collect from donors of one particular blood type and transfuse it ideally to a recipient of the same blood type.
So you mentioned those 8 main blood types, right? A, B, AB, and O, and then positive or negative, depending on the RH factor. Are those the only blood types or are there more?
There are actually many different blood types. So there's 47 different blood group systems. And within those 47 blood group systems, there are over 300 different antigens that make each of us unique and different from each other. But when we're talking about transfusing red blood cells particularly, what we're really trying to do is match for that ABO and plus or minus the RH. And so those are the key blood types that we are trying to match between donors and recipients, but there are actually a huge diversity of other antigens that are present on red cells.
All right, now let's dive in a little more into a particular blood type. How common is type O blood?
So type O blood in total represents about 45% of people in the US population, but O positive is present in about 38%, and the rest, the 7%, is O negative.
And what's the difference between O positive and O negative blood?
So there, the difference is the presence of a protein called RHD, sometimes referred to as RH factor. And if that protein is present on your red blood cells, we call that blood RH positive. If it's absent, we call it RH negative.
And why is type O blood so important during a blood shortage?
Yeah, so during a blood shortage, because only 7% of individuals are O negative can be transfused to any patient safely. And so particularly when the blood supply is dwindling low, what happens is O negative becomes relied upon more and more heavily because it can supplant the use of other blood types for any patient. And so really O negative, because it has that special status, is often in short supply.
So does that mean that hospitals use type O blood perhaps differently than other blood types?
Yeah, so if we don't know your blood type and you come to the hospital and are in need of a transfusion, generally, before we can identify what your blood type is, we can safely transfuse you blood type O. And so for that reason, it's used in things like emergency use. It's used in ambulances before you get to the hospital, on helicopters as you're being transported. Or if you have an unexpected bleed and you're in the hospital and we don't know your blood type yet because we didn't expect to transfuse you, we can use blood type O to transfuse you.
Are there certain blood types that are more common in certain demographic groups?
Yeah. So if you look at blood type O, both Rh positive and Rh negative, that's present again in about 45% of the US population. But that population is comprised largely of individuals with European ancestry. However, in individuals with African ancestry, blood type O is present in about 51% of those individuals. And in people with Latin American ancestry, it's present in about 57%.
All right, Dr. Baker. Well, thanks so much for telling us a little bit more about type O blood. If you have any more questions, want to learn a little bit more about type O blood, head on over to redcrossblood.org.